For the next big Bulldog game, stock up on the most delicious tailgating packages around at Fats Cafe, where regulars get treated special and everyone's a regular.
All right, the facts from Saturday. South Carolina State a winner over Howard. Delaware State over Winston-Salem State 24-21. Bethune-Cookman getting a win barely over Hampton 27-24. But coach, that Florida A&M North Carolina A&T game, very close game. And of course, Norfolk State beating Morgan State. But take a look at the standings right now. South Carolina State needing one more win on the season.
And we need to get it this coming Saturday. Morgan State's coming in here, and you know, they got a little bit of a tough break yesterday with their Norfolk game. They lost their game at home yesterday. And, you know, I think the big news around our league is that I think the Pulley kid from Florida A&M was injured yesterday, so it looks like he may be out for the season.
You talk about South Carolina State, the game coming up this weekend against Morgan State. It is Education Appreciation Day, meaning that anyone who's associated with education, any student, faculty, administrator of any school, elementary through college, you can have a valid ID, able to purchase a ticket in advance is the key word for $10.
Yes, and I hear we also have a lot of high school bands. It's High School Band Day also. So, you know, between the two, we need a big crowd to influence the NCAA on this home field deal in our first round of the playoffs. So, you know, we really need you to come out this coming Saturday.
You know, Coach, we talk all the time about where the team is ranked and so forth, but this year, perhaps, in all my years of South Carolina State, I don't know when I've seen more fan support in Orangeburg for the Bulldog program.
And it's really great. The atmosphere of that style kind of game at home now spoils us a little bit when you go off and play at, say, for instance, a Howard yesterday, and it's more of a high school type setting. You know, I don't know if we play as good as we do when we play at home.
It's a special year for South Carolina State, but it also is a sad year for South Carolina State as the Bulldogs lost a member of their family this past week, Dr. Robert E. Wag Howard, who was so long, a stalwart in South Carolina State, Coach. Coach Howard, of course, an educator, great educator, involved with the Bulldog basketball team, on the film crew for South Carolina State, and a part of your life, I'm sure, for as long as you can remember.
Dr. Howard has been a staple of our community for all of my life, and he'd come to practice almost every day, and he'd park right at the gate, and I'd go out, and he'd give me advice on exactly what needed to be done, all that kind of stuff, and we're going to really miss him.
Of course, South Carolina State again taking on Morgan State this week, Coach. And this game for South Carolina State is a somewhat difficult game because this team has always been, under Donald Hill-Ely, one of the better defensive teams in the MEAC.
They seem to play better on the road than they do at home. They've always given us a tough time here. It's been in overtime the last couple of times. So, you know, you can expect it to be another tough game this week.
Now, if you listened on the radio to the South Carolina State broadcast, we talked before the game, Coach, about Will Ford as his career begins to wind down at South Carolina State. Will Ford already the all-time leading rusher for South Carolina State, but right now in a quest to become the all-time leading rusher in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. It has to be special for you to have coached a kid like this.
It really has, and you know, he's been fun to watch. I enjoy going to the games to see what he's going to do, you know, this week. So, you know, he's about 200 and some odd yards away. We need to get some of that. We need to get a big chunk of that yardage this week so that we don't get into that last game having a lot of yardage to get. So, you know, we're hoping that we can have a big week this week with him.
All right, now, Coach, when you talk about Morgan State, perhaps the future, and I know coaches don't like to eventually talk about the future, but how important are these last two games, Morgan and North Carolina A&T, that you play well?
Big, extremely big. We need to not only go out and play well, we need to, you know, go out and make a statement against these people also, so that, you know, we're fresh in the minds of the posters and everybody else, you know, who's got something to do with who plays where in these playoffs.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday down in Orangeburg, Education Appreciation Day. Get your tickets early, and we hope to see you next week once again right here on The Buddy Pough Show.
Thank you for watching The Buddy Pough Show, featuring highlights of the defending MEAC champions, South Carolina State University Bulldogs. Our sponsors are State Farm Insurance, the South Carolina Education Lottery, Orangeburg County, Farm Bureau Insurance, the Regional Medical Center, Advanced Diagnostic Imaging Center, Palmetto Health, Wood-Ash Furnishings, Fats Cafe, and Paragon Builders. Join us again next week for another edition of The Buddy Pough Show.